I don't want to grow up. I want to be a Toys R Us kid. No, you ain't gonna be shit. Ow, ow. Anyways, whew. So I want to talk about Toys R Us. Basically, the era of my childhood is basically been shit on completely. First Michael Bay with Turtles and Transformers, and now this. So yeah, my childhood is legitimately fucked. It has been raped beyond recognition. Now I'm watching this show, or I watched this not a documentary, but it's this channel on YouTube called oh shit, what's it called? Retail Archaeology. Ooh, and there's a couple other people who do it as well. Like they'll go and they'll record, they'll do like little videos of failing supermarkets and famous chains like Sears and Montgomery Wards and whatever else. And I gotta be honest with you, I find it fascinating. Just going around there and just seeing the dead zone that is, you know, a once famous, well-liked store. Damn it, dude. Come on, man. Every time I gotta do a clip, you gotta go farting around and getting under the blanket. Come on. Why, dumbest ass beagle in history. Get under the blanket. Good boy. Anyways. Whew. So, like, they'll go and they'll document different places and stuff. And I gotta be honest, I find that fascinating. I don't know why. A couple times they were able to get into places after they completely closed. Like, they're, I mean, we're talking not only closed, but they're abandoned closed. It's just, it's sad, but it's fascinating to me. Anyways, whew. So this Retail Archaeology just did one on Toys R Us, and I gotta be honest, watching him walk through that Toys R Us, you wonder why they're going bankrupt or whatever. You look at that looks like a typical dollar store. It looks like a typical Walmart. There's nothing unique about it other than, yeah, they got a lot of toys and they're overpriced. Now I remember we had like one, and it wasn't even really local. This was the Utica store in upstate New York. That was a unique store. Now, I can't say that all Toys R Us were laid out this way. Whew. But they had basically an indoor and an outdoor. And the way it was set up is when you go in the indoor, like you couldn't go in the outdoor. And vice versa, you couldn't. They set it up where there was this maze. And I think it was partly deliberate because once you got through the maze and the store opened up, you really couldn't get back through. And even if you could, you couldn't get out the front door. I mean, you could, like if somebody walked in, you could walk out. But I think it was more set up so kids didn't steal anything. But because when you get to the other side of the store, you have to go out the outdoor, which everybody's there, the cashiers and everybody's watching. Over on the other side, when you come in, nobody gives a shit. So anyways, you walk in, and like just a few feet in front of you is like a wall. Like boom, there's a wall on your left. Probably a few feet, like enough to get some carts. I think there's like a cart area over there. Or there was. I don't know if they changed. I haven't been there in like 20 years. I think the last time I went there was N64. That was, what, 2000? No, shit, that was 97 maybe? Yeah, I don't think I've been there since like, whatever that year was, N64 came out. I got it that year for Christmas. Anyways, you walk in, and directly to your left is a wall. And there's, there's junk there. And then immediately in front of you is another wall going all the way down toward the right. And there's like these little bins and stuff and little stuff, and of course there's windows. And you go all the way down, and you immediately turn left and go a few feet, and you immediately turn left again and go back down the opposite side of that aisle that you were just on. Again, creating the maze. And then when you got to the end, you turned right, and it was, I swear to Christ, I swear, not kidding, not over-exaggerating, it was basically the maze area. It almost felt like they dimmed the lights, like it was almost really like nuanced almost in the sense that it was dimly lit. And then when you get to the open area where the maze ends and you're going into the actual store, it was well lit. It was white. It literally looked like Wizard of Oz when it goes from black and white to color. It was one of the coolest experiences as a kid because it was like you wanted to get through. Cause I always wanted to go to video games. Now, I wasn't like a toddler. I didn't really go there when I was a toddler, so I was more teenager, so on and so forth. And I was obviously there for the video games. SNES, NES, Genesis, stuff like that. Again, this is back in the day. And I remember just as you get into the main crux of the store, I remember looking directly to my right, and they had board games. Like, I mean, literally, it felt like, I don't know if it was because I was a kid or what, but it was like, this place just expanded beyond the physicality of the actual location. It felt like these aisles just went forever. They just, like, expanded into, like, another universe. They just went into, like, another entire universe somewhere. It was like there was no end to these freaking things. Okay, and I remember that back wall was wall-to-wall board games. I remember looking over and I saw Operation. I saw what's the name of that? Battleship. And it was something, I think there was Monopoly. There was a bunch of board games. And the further you go down, you finally get to the video game area. And it was wall to wall. I mean, it was aisle upon aisle, front, either side of the aisle of, like, the consoles were set up. And they were behind this glass, or plastic, or whatever, or not plastic, plexiglass, or whatever it was. But they were on display, and they had lights behind them, and they were lit up. Not the systems themselves, but, like, there was lights behind them lit up. And it was just this, like, they were on display, and they just looked so cool. And you see the NES sitting there, and you see the zapper gun, and you see the control pads, and holy Jesus, it was the greatest thing as a kid. In fact, it's part of the reason that I have respect for my consoles, where it's like I dust them, and I put them on display. It's a lot to do with that. Like, it basically taught me to have respect for them. Where, a lot of stuff you don't have respect for, like your computer, your tablet, but like the consoles were just cool, and they were different, and I wanted them on display. I wanted to see them sitting there on a shelf with all my games, and it was just, I don't know, it taught me to have a respect for those things because of the way they were set up. And again, it was wall to wall. You had NES, SNES, Genesis, and I think there were like other ones at the time, and peripherals and different controllers, and I mean, oh my god, it was just so freaking cool. And it's like you couldn't see everything; you had to make like multiple trips to get everything. And then you go into the games, and I swear to God, there had to be at least it seemed like there was 500 games. Which there probably were, because you had like at least three different consoles, and shit, even if there was only 25, you had 3 or 4. That's still 100 games. That's pretty big. Like, you go in a local store today, I don't even think you get 100 games, and that's from like all 3 major systems. I think you maybe get like 25 of each, and there's like 3 of them, so you're talking maybe 75 games, if that. And the thing was, they didn't actually have the games on display. They had these little tickets. And you had this flap. It was like a flapper thing, like a mud flap on the back of your car. It had the picture of the cover. You could flip it over and read the back, and then underneath it there was a card. And you pull the ticket, and of course there was no ticket. It meant the games were sold out, which was that was always horrible. When you purposely go to get a game and that some bitch is sold out, you're like, damn. And it just, I remember it was like a magical fucking moment in my life as a kid. It was great. As a gamer, it was some of the best times I've ever had. Now I've gone to places like KB and Baggers back in the day, and some of those other places. They weren't as prestigious or as cool as Toys R Us. At least this particular Toys. Again, every Toys R Us is probably different, but this one specifically. And I remember you pull the ticket and then you cash out. They scan the paper, and you take it to this boxed in area, and you hand it to the woman, and she looks at it, and she goes and she grabs the game off the shelf in the back. And it was behind this locked. I don't even know what you'd call it. Almost like a little pavilion kind of a thing. It was this locked off little area. Because, they kept the shit under lock and key, obviously. And then you basically get it and walk out the door. It was such a cool experience. It was such a unique experience. Like, you wanted to go to Toys R Us. And now I didn't really pay attention to the girl toys. I didn't really pay attention to the toddlers and the different toys. Like, I wasn't really into action figures at that time. It was mainly the video games. So I kind of wish I had been. Like, I wish I had more memory of just looking around. I remember even Dale T would go, and the old woman would go, and the old woman used to love to go, It was just a fun time for the entire family, even Dale T. And Dale T didn't really like to do anything. He would even walk around and enjoy it, It is what it is. So, I don't know, I wanted to talk about this because it was a legitimately magical moment. And the way it was set up, the presentation, just the atmosphere. Because, like I said, that first area, that maze area was dimly lit, and then opens up into this bright, like almost white doctor's office kind of like you're in a waiting room to heaven kind of a deal. Literally, it's like that white, glowy kind of like, And then again, it was wall-to-wall games, and just, oh my god, it was so cool. Because I remember going, because you gotta understand, this is pre-internet. So there was no, oh gee, we got a trailer for the new game. Oh gee, Call of Duty 57, times. There was none of that. The closest thing to the internet we had was Nintendo Power or EGM magazine or GamePro back in the day. And you get like one still picture. And you had to decide, is that a game you want to spend good quality money on and pray to God that it's worth playing more than once? Because there was no taking the game back. There was none of this stuff. There was none of that. There was no Steam. There was none of this bullshit. PC Master Race bullshit. There was none of this on-demand stuff. PlayStation Now. There was none of that shit. No digital content. Dude, closest thing to digital... Actually, I don't even think we had... No, we had nothing that was close to digital. Seriously, I think the closest thing was those stupid Tamagotchi things. That was the closest thing to digital. That and maybe the Game Boy. Whatever. Like, we didn't even have that kind of stuff. And you had to go in there and look at the cover and say, does that cover look like it equates to a game I want to play? Because if you got a game for Christmas, you got maybe 5 or 6 games for Christmas, if that had to last you the entire year. Okay? Or at least until the birthday, where you get maybe 1 or 2. And of course, then it was Easter, and then that was basically it. It was Christmas, birthday, and Easter, and I might get maybe 5, 6 games total. And you had to make sure they were damn good games, because you get a game and you're like, I'm not having fun with this. You were screwed. That was like whatever it was, 60, 70, whatever they were back in the day. You were screwed. If it was not a good game, okay. And I remember it was 95. I had graduated. I had just graduated high school. And my mother was like, we're going to Utica. You want to go? And I was like, sure, why not? Because, back then I could actually get around. And we ended up going to Toys R Us, and she said, you can pick out 2 games for your graduation gift. I was like, okay. It was $120. And I had no idea. Like, I didn't know name brands. I didn't know developers. I didn't know any of that stuff. I ended up getting 2 Square Enix games, which now I know that's a good thing. Like, if it's Square Enix games, it's usually a pretty good game, on average. The 2 games that I purchased, and again, I went in blind. I had no clue what they were. I purchased, I want to say Secret of Evermore. It may have been something else. I think it was Secret of Evermore, and it was Chrono Trigger. And it was the single greatest experience of my life, Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is probably one of my favorite games, at least top 3 of all time. And I picked it up on a random whim of, oh, sure, you can pick up a couple games for your, that I don't know, man. It was just, and I was at Toys R Us when I did it. Like, again, I have 2 major memories. That time and when I got the N64. I may have gone back like 1 or 2 more times, but I don't really remember. They weren't really that special. I was a little bit older, But again, you watch this Retail Archaeology and some other places that do the similar stuff, and you look down the aisles, and they look like Walmart. They look like your typical dollar store. There's nothing unique about the experience. There's nothing unique about it. The only real mild difference is it's all toys instead of cookingware and vegetables and shit. And frozen pizza on one end. Instead of that, it's all toys. And they literally took the magic out of it. They took the fun out of it. And then they wonder why they're bankrupt and don't have money. And they're going to have to close down. And Toys R Us is going to be no more. I mean, do you understand that? Toys R Us is going to be no more. Toys R Us has been a part of my life since into the 80s. I don't even know when it was. I remember the commercials with Jeffrey the Giraffe. I remember sitting there, Saturday morning cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons are dead. And it's sad. I mean, it really is legitimately freaking sad. I am legitimately sad over this. I am. I almost wish I could go one more time. But it's not going to be the same experience. I could go to frickin' Walmart. I have to drive all the way to Utica. I can go to frickin' Walmart. Get the same experience and probably get a discount. And I don't know, man. Same thing with comic books. I mean, comic books are the same thing. The comic shop. I remember Comics Plus back in the back when the mall was a thing. And like this Retail Archaeology, they go through abandoned malls and stuff, and just like you go to some of these malls today. They're completely desolate. You might have like 1 or 2 food courts and maybe a JCPenney's. That's it. Everything else, you might have like 5 people the whole day just walking around and maybe getting a hot dog. Just because, I mean, people just don't go to them anymore. The prices are horrible. And they've done nothing to innovate in 20, 30 years. It's tragic. I mean, it's legitimately tragic. But like I said, watching these programs, they fascinate me. They really genuinely fascinate me, and I can't explain why. Um, but J.C. Penney's is going under. Sears is going under. Price Chopper, I think, is going under, if it hasn't already. A lot of these places are going under. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised Tops is still around here in the East Coast. I don't know how far west or mid to west Tops goes, but I'm surprised they're still in. I'm surprised the Wegmans is still around. Like, some of these places, you know, I don't know how they compete with Walmart. And I really don't. I mean, I really genuinely don't. Because most of these places are just they're obsolete. Not only are they obsolete, but they're overpriced and they're obsolete, which is double negative. And they offer no experience. And most of the stores are grody because they don't do upkeep. I remember shit, dude. I remember Zehrs. Remember Zehrs? Remember Ames? I mean, it is tragic that some of these places are just no more. Again, Zehrs. Do you remember Zehrs? And that was like a big staple in our local town. Zehrs was a big deal. In fact, I remember going to Zehrs. Another game related thing. Another one of my all time favorite games was Illusion of Gaia. And it came with a free T-shirt. It was like $65. You can get a T-shirt and you get the game, and it came in this package. And I remember I picked it up, and I was going to take it and put it in the cart with the old woman. And I'm like, I want to get this because I didn't know what it was. And that is another one of my all-time favorite games. And it's just, oh my god, dude. Because what's cool about it is I love gaming, so that being accompanied with going to certain stores like a Zehrs back in whatever it was, and then going to Toys R Us back in the day. It's like it's almost like word association. It's like, where were you when this happened? Where were you when Kennedy was shot? I wasn't even born, but that's neither here nor there. Where were you on 9/11 kind of a deal, you know? So, in a way, I'm glad I have appreciation for it through the gaming. Because, like, there's other stuff that is not associated with the gaming that I just don't really pay much mind to. But again, like, some of these stores, it's like Gillette's, that's another one. I don't know if Gillette's went out of business or if the local one around here went out of business. But that was tragic because they had really good meatloaf mix. And they had these, oh dude, the freaking French bread was phenomenal. They had these round French breads, and every time we'd go, we'd get two of them and we'd just cut it in butter, and oh sweet Jesus, it was great. Because every once in a while the old woman would do sauce. I may have to try to recapture her sauce recipe and actually make it. Like, legitimately make it. Not do a stupid cooking with a bastard, but actually do a legitimate cooking thing with it. But, like I said, I don't know. I'm really sad to see some of these places go, because I don't know. I'm in this place right now where it's like my mother's dead, my aunt is dead, my grandmother's dead, my father might as well be dead. Like, everybody's dead, and everybody else is getting older, including myself. I just turned 41 yesterday, and it's just, that's time you can't get back. Now, like, I'm thinking about all the famous people who died, even up until like yesterday. I mean, there are some legitimate classic names of people. Like, there were generations before us who died. Jimmy Stewart, for one. Jimmy Stewart was great. he was before my time, so for the most part, as far as like his heyday. But it's just I think about like all these people, celebrities, George Burns. I was thinking about how people today don't even remember George Burns, and I think that's tragic. Nobody, I don't think anybody on this planet in the last year has uttered the name George Burns. I really don't. Not even his family. Like, you got kids who don't even know who George Burns is. And Gracie. I mean, think about that. I mean, it was just shit we grew up on, and it's no more. And like I said, you can't get it back. It's like time literally marches on and stomps you in the nuts as it does it. It's like, oh, Trump, 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 and you're like, oh. I mean, I don't know, man. I miss the fucking old days. I miss going with the old woman to the freaking store, to OJ Gula's and getting pool supplies and just sitting in the pool with the old woman and the dogs. I miss that. I freaking miss that. I miss going to Toys R Us, getting a game, coming home and playing it. I have a fucking another memory. I forgot what we were doing. I think I'd gotten in trouble in the school, and they wanted us to have like a counseling session. So we went to Utica area for a counselor, like a family counselor. And when we'd get done, sometimes we'd go to Toys R Us. Sometimes we'd go to the Christian bookstore. And I remember when I got, for the first time, A Link to the Past for SNES. We had gone probably Toys R Us. I don't even remember. And I picked it up. And then on the way home, we stopped to the Christian bookstore. And I got a new cassette tape of a band that I liked. And that was just a really cool moment. I'm sitting in the back of the car. I got the game open. I'm reading the instruction manual, which was cool, by the way, because they don't have those anymore. And I feel bad for kids, especially the maps and stuff. And they had the Zelda maps. Oh, God. Oh, man. Fuck this reality that we live in right now. This reality sucks. Okay, we didn't have much back in the day, but what we had was fucking classic, and it was great. Nowadays, it's like you have more stuff, but you actually have less of it. If that makes any sense at all. It's better, but you get less. I don't know, man. But I remember that. And then I remember coming home. I think the old man went out to the pool. I went into my room and I started playing Legend of Zelda. And starting off, you can understand, going from the NES to the SNES, and you start off Link's to the Past, and it's raining, and that music, the dun dun dun, that music, and oh my God, it takes me back. It's like, it was a great moment. It was like a snapshot in my existence, and it was like, that's awesome. I got a new music tape. Literally a tape, cassette tape. I got a great freaking game. Now, I didn't know Zelda was a good brand or not. I knew I liked the first two. So I was like, oh, this is... Because, again, you have to understand, we didn't have the internet. So you go to local Toys R Us, you're scanning every one of these. Because this was your internet. This was your browsing of the internet, going to Toys R Us and seeing those tickets. And seeing the logo, the covers that were printed out on these little flaps that you could flap up and see the back of it and read the back. And try to get a feel for what the game is. And I remember looking and saying, oh, Zelda. Now, I may have been mildly interested in Zelda based upon Nintendo Power. I don't know, I can't remember. I assume. So, but I didn't know when it was coming out. There was like no release date. There was no, May 5th or August 10th or whatever. It's like you go, and if there's something there, like, oh, that's cool, let's get that. It was just so random and willy-nilly bullshit. And it's like, I can't get that back, and it bothers me. And no, it's not go make new memories. No, it's like, I don't want to make new memories. These are memories I can't get back. I can't get back that time with my parents. I can't get back that time with my mother. She's dead. She's been dead for, what, 13 years now. Jeez, I almost had a panic attack just thinking about that. Wow. Holy crap. I almost started to hyperventilate right there. When I thought about 13... Jeez. I have panic attacks sometimes. And... I can't even say the time anymore, because I can talk about it, but I can't say... If I say the time, like, aloud, it freaks me out. That's been so damn long. I mean, my God, dude. Because you gotta understand, I don't get to do stuff like most normal people. I don't have the ability to do certain things. Like, okay, my mother's dead, so let me go to Toys R Us, and it's not the same thing, and I don't have the ability to get there, and I don't have the ability to do stuff once I get there, and it was just, ugh. And then the pool, and the dogs are dead, and, oh my God, dude, it's just, and then you see Toys R Us, and Toys R Us is going belly up. It was like one of the few bright spots of life, even though I don't go there anymore, or even shop there, or even shop online there anymore. It's just, it was one of those things that was always there, you know? It'd be like McDonald's going under. I don't eat at McDonald's, but I don't want to see McDonald's go away. It's part of the culture. It's part of American culture. It is. It may not be the best example of American culture, but you don't want to see McDonald's go under, or Wendy's. I don't eat Wendy's. Fuck Wendy's. I don't even like Wendy's. I don't want to see it go under. I don't like Taco Bell. I don't want to see it go under. No, maybe a little. No, maybe Taco Bell. Yeah, Taco Bell can go away. Taco Bell can go under. Yeah, I'm kidding, but you know, I don't know. It's just I think about these things, and it reminds me of August. I can't tell you what it's like. The end of summer, and you're going into fall, and you're going into like death and winter. It's like I associate it with the season, and it's like the old woman was at the pool. We had just come home. It was probably like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, so we still had a good chunk of the day left. Oh God, and it's just you can't get those fucking days back, man. They are gone. They are fucking gone. And like I said, now Toys R Us, and it's like, what else? What else is gone? You got something like MySpace. Who gave a shit? You got a bunch of tweener kids who are upset. Aside from that, nobody cares. It was garbage. But Toys R Us was a big deal. Toys R Us was part of like our culture. It was part of, I mean, it wasn't just Americana culture. Obviously, Toys R Us is, I don't know to what extent worldwide, but there's UK versions and stuff like that. But it's a big deal, A lot of us grew up with that. And the idea there's going to be a generation of kids who don't even know what Toys R Us is. There's a generation of kids who don't know what Baggers is. Or KB Toys. They don't know what that shit is. I mean, seriously, there's an entire generation of kids who don't know who Mr. Rogers is. There's an entire, they don't know what Sears Roebuck is. I don't know what the fuck a Roebuck is, but that's neither here nor there. But Sears is going the way of the dodo, so... I mean, the idea your kids are not going to know what Sears is. I mean, think about that. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter, but... Like, your kids don't know what Zehrs is. I mean, think about that. We drove by Zehrs so many times at church meetings and whatnot. I mean, it's the idea that it's no longer... It doesn't exist. It simply no longer exists. Ames does not exist anymore. I mean, do you understand that? Like, I'm surprised Kitty Drugstore hasn't gone under. I mean, shit. I'll even say something nice. I'll even say something nice about the Super Duper in Camden. Now, granted, they had fucking flies in the deli case, in the donut case. You go in the donuts, hey, give me a dozen donuts. There's flies flying around in there. It was. They had those old shitty wooden floors. I mean, it was a freaking dump. But you know what? To see it bulldozed, I mean, you know, it's part of our childhood. You know, it may not have been the greatest part of our childhood. You know, but I mean, think about it. Your kids don't know what a Super Duper is. No, okay, that might actually be that might be a good thing. That might actually be a decent, you know, you may actually be doing something right there. But you get my point. You get what I'm saying. It's like, that shit is no more. I don't know, man. It's depressing. It is legitimately depressing me right now. I mean, I'm 41 fucking years old. I'm gonna die. I'm probably not gonna make it to 50. And, you know, because there's gonna come a time when, guess what? I no longer exist. You know? At least not here physically. You know, whatever. And there's gonna be a time when there's a whole generation of people who don't even know who the fuck I am. You know? Probably 6 months after my death, nobody's gonna remember me. I mean, seriously, think about all the people who died from church. Think of Big Daddy Clark. Think of Faith Clark. The Chamberlains. There's others, I can't think of them. I mean, just think about all the people who died who were like mainstays in our local church. You know? I don't know, man. It's just, it's sad. It literally saddens me. I am legitimately fucking depressed right now. I am actually very sad right now. And there's no way to get this back. And there's no way to even, like, archive it or anything like that, where it's like, oh, you know, I was thinking of setting up a Facebook page for the old woman. And posting, like, you know, all photos and the 2 videos I've got of her. And maybe, you know, I don't know. I didn't know if anybody else wanted to add to it, or if, you know, I don't know. I don't know if anybody would be interested in that. I'm talking like people we know. Obviously, a random stranger on the internet's not going to give a damn, but I was thinking about setting up a page for the old woman. The old woman's page. You know? And that way I could post all the photos of her, shit she was in, and just document, you know? Just keep it there for, you know, whatever. I was thinking about doing that. I don't know if I will. Because it's more work than I really want to do right now. Which, you know, any work is more than I want to do right now. So yeah, I don't know, man. Because you gotta understand, like I said, I don't get to do stuff, you know? I don't get to go out 24/7. You know, like, physically not being able to drive sucks. And having to rely on other people sucks. And then not having a lot of money sucks. So it's like, you can't really do a lot of stuff. You know? So, now if I was in like a circle of people, you know, I'd be out doing stuff. I'd be out doing stuff. Like, if I lived closer to you, I'd be doing stuff. You know? It is what it is. It's kind of hard to do stuff. Even if I could do stuff, there's really nobody to do it with, so what's the point? Like, who wants to go to the movie by themselves, you know? It's just, I don't know. It's a depressing life. I mean, it is a depressing existence that I have, but that's neither here nor there. But man, I remember those days at the pool, and it's just the nice sunny days, and you're there, and you got the raft, and the smell of the chlorine, and the sound of the motor, and the dog. You got Ollie on the freaking raft, and he's barking because his rubber ducky fell off the raft and is floating away. And the old woman is in her onesie, She's got the mask and the snorkel on, and she's trying to clean the bottom of the frickin' pool. It's just, I mean, you had to be there. And for like a split second in my existence, I have memories that I really want to hold on to, and I can't. They can no longer. They can no longer be. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, like, if I could get those back, I would. I really would. And there's nothing to replace them with. That's the thing. Like, you have a normal life. You know, like, okay, I'm not doing the same things I was doing as a kid with my mother, kind of a deal. I got a wife and kids, and I'm doing different stuff. I got nothing. I literally have nothing. I sit here literally with my dick in my hand. That's it. Okay, my life sucks. I mean, it really does. I mean, I am little. When I think about my existence, I am shocked I have not committed suicide yet. Just out of depression. I really am, and I'm being serious when I say that. Not that I'm suicidal per se, but just the simple fact of how fucking sad my existence is. And I've said this before. This isn't the depression talking, but the fact is, if I died right now, my father's life would be easier because he wouldn't have to come up every 2 weeks to take me shopping. Because I need a ride. And, you know, my cousins could sell the house. Because they have to keep the house because, you know, I live here. So, you know, they have to keep the house, which means they have to rent the downstairs, which means more work for them. And even so, even if they wanted to keep it and rent it, they could rent this apartment for 3 times what I'm giving them. So, you know, if I died right now, everybody in my circle would be better off. I mean, it would be. You might be a little sad because you wouldn't get these clips and shit. But aside from that, which you're going to move on because you got wife and kids and work and, you know, you got shit going on. Me, I got nothing. I literally have nothing. I mean, my life is so pathetic that stupid shitty iPhone with no memory that you gave me has, like, revolutionized my life. I mean, you understand it really has. That's how pathetic my existence is. That a simple phone with a shitty little camera that I can upload directly to YouTube has changed my existence. That's how sad I am. That is how pathetic I am as a human being. And then I see stuff like this with Toys R Us. And I think about how awesome Toys R Us used to be. And I think about the bullshit that it turned into. Because I remember that last time that I went there. They took away the maze. There was no maze. You just walk right in. They didn't have games on display like they did. They had this little area. It almost felt like a reading area where there was like a carpet with like a big chair, and there's like these little games, and it was just like this. I don't know. It felt like a really stupid version. It wasn't iconic like it was before. It wasn't like awe-inspiring, and it wasn't because I was grown up or anything like that. Because even in my older, like, 19 years old, 20 years old, even then it was still, I was like, I can't wait to go to Toys R Us. This is going to be awesome, you know? Well, you're kind of grown up. You know, it's, again, Toys R Us back in the day, even if you were an adult, even old people loved going there. Like, you go there all the time, and it was old people, and it was kids, and it was. I mean, the closest thing to anything I could think of is like a Petco, where you take your dog in and let the dog walk around and decide what toy they want. And you see these videos where it's like they cash out and the dog doesn't want to leave, and the dog lays on the ground, and they literally have to take the lead and like pull the dog and just drag the dog along because he didn't want to leave. You know, it was that kind of feeling, except obviously, you know, you're a kid, not a dog, but you know, whatever. I don't know, man. I can't say anything other than it's sad. I mean, it really is. It's legitimately heartbreaking to me. And I don't know. Like I said, I want to make this clip. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to document it. Because it was a big part of my childhood. Even though I only went there, I could probably count on one hand how many times I went there. But it was just, you go there and it was a magic moment. You literally feel like a kid again, the way they had it set up. And then when the other people bought it and they completely, they trashed it basically. They turned it into just a regular crappy normal store. And again, you look at some of these videos that people who document these things, and there's multiple channels that do it. You look down the aisle, it looks like you're in a Walmart. It looks like you're in a Kmart. You know, it looks like you're in a typical dollar store. Minus the fact there's not a damn thing for $1 in that place. You know, everything's overpriced. So, I don't know. It's just whatever. I'm kind of going in circles here, so I'm probably going to end this clip. But now I'm depressed. I'm legitimately fucking depressed. I actually wasn't depressed yesterday. Seriously, for my birthday, I wasn't depressed. Now I'm depressed. Day after. But I'm depressed for a reason, so I mean, I guess there's that. I'm not just depressed because, you know, it's the in thing to do on your birthday. It's, you know, Toys R Us. Toys R Us is dead, dude. Toys R Us is basically going away. You should take your kids to Toys R Us. Either one at a time or collectively. You should just do it. Give them one last experience. You go there, buy me a game, do something. I mean, seriously, just... Believe me, if I had the money, I'd give you like $100. Take your kids there, buy them some shit, buy them some dinosaurs or something. It's tragic. You really should. You should probably take your kids one last time, just for shits and grins. Even if you just walk around and maybe they get a cheap toy each or something, you know. Of course, you got 85 fucking kids now, so it's like, you know. Cost you $100 just to walk into the place, and that don't include if you want anything, because they got Legos and shit. They got like wall to wall Legos and stuff, and that shit's marked down like 80% in some cases, 20 to 80%. So you might want to take a trip there, and you might want to do it soon because these motherfuckers places ain't gonna be around very long. They're going liquidation right now. In fact, some of the places in America may not actually go into liquidation. They might just lock the doors and sell off the toys, you know, to other retailers. So, I don't know, you might want to take the kids there, that's all I'm saying. One last hurrah. And, damn it, it's sad. It's legitimately sad. Like, make a day of it, damn it. You need to do that. You need to do it. Fuck it. Do it for me, because I can't do it. Go make a day with it. Take your kids, make a day of it. Anyways, that's it. Probably gonna go want to kill myself now, but whatever. Thanks, Toys R Us. Thanks for wanting to kill. Thanks for making me want to kill myself, Toys R Us. Fucking bullshit. Swear to God, this fucking reality that we're in right now. This Mandela effect bullshit reality that we're in right now. This pre-2012 new reset era bullshit. Fuck this world. Fuck this universe right now. This is a shitty fucking universe, dude. There's a lot of cool stuff, and there's a lot of stupid shit, too. I mean, all the hot chicks have dicks. It's tragic. It's tragic. Anyways, I'm just gonna end it with a sigh. Fuck it.